Hi everyone, this is Happy Rich Mama. Today we're going to have a lesson, a third of the series of 3 paintings on impressionistic pop art landscape acrylic painting. We connect the painting that we are connecting this new painting with, and we color the sky lavender, which is a mixture of white, blue, red, and then we go to blue, the lower portion of the sky, and then we continue on to the farther away bush and use a fan brush to cover all the lower portion below the horizon. One main feature of this painting is a bahay kubo, a nipa hut. So we begin with dark brown, and that's a mixture of blue, red, and perhaps a little black. Or you can use burnt sienna, and if you don't have that, if you have only raw sienna, you can add a little bit more of red and blue and use that for the sketch. This is the raw sienna, and then we add a little blue and red to make it a darker brown. Use a about 1 cm wide flat brush to cover all the bahay kubo or the nipa hut with the color dark brown. It's so hot nowadays, and so I have turned on my electric fan, and the acrylic paints usually dry up very fast when there's a fan, and so I'm adding in spraying some water to maintain its moisture. Here I'm trying to get the correct proportions of the nipa. I need to have a symmetrical kind of roof over the bahay kubo. And so I realized I have to kind of stretch it a bit to the right, the upper portion of the bahay kubo. Well, not to worry too much because, as you know, these are very temporary residents, and they kind of topple to one side a little bit, and so it doesn't really matter if it's not that proportionate. we mix yellow and more blue to make a dark green and cover all the portions that are white on the upper right side. And that will be a part of a big, really big bush that goes up to the left side of the bahay kubo. Just dab, dab, dab in a very irregular fashion so that you create some kind of depth on the leaves, and so there will be big ones and small ones, and not all the spaces will be covered. I need to keep going back, checking, and then sometimes I would dab some colors onto the old painting so that the connection between the two paintings is established. We add a little bit more yellow to the mixture so that we get a lighter tint, and that's what we use to start the highlighting. We continue using the wrong brush and we begin inputting the highlights, and this time we put them all on the left side because the sun is on the left side, and we try to imagine how the leaves are being covered with the reflection of the sun. So not all of them are colored yellow, and some will have maintain its color, and we just determine the shape of the tree with the highlights that we input. And there will be some sprigs coming out of the rounded shape of the tree, and the highlights will be uneven all throughout the tree, more on the left side. After the lighter green, then we use a yellow, and after yellow, then we use plain white as the final highlight. And we do the same thing on the bush on the left, and try to make sure that the bush on the left looks exactly like the old painting. For the bahay kubo, we use a small round brush or a bigger detail brush and input raw sienna or a light brown, kind of like a light mocha brown, and use uneven strokes of parallel lines that kind of depict a grass hut. And then after the raw sienna, we add a little white on the raw sienna to get a lighter mocha. And then the final highlight is white only on the left side. And we create the awning of the window and put a little white streaks just to create an even splatter of the sun rays on the bahay kubo. Then we put the stilts on the bahay kubo using dark brown. Use a palette knife to mix raw sienna and yellow to make some stems on the lower right side, and then black with a little brown to make the branch on the right side, and cover the lower portion with a mixture of green, and then use a fan brush to have some more dark grass, and then put in a door using dark brown on the hut. And then we continue with the pathway from the other painting using red, orange, raw sienna, and yellow. And then the final highlight is white on the pathway. And then we input some rocks using black, using a palette knife. And then as its first highlight, use raw sienna. And then we cover the other areas of the grass area with using a fan brush, some raw sienna, some dark green, and then light green, and then some yellow, and a final touch of white highlights. Using a palette knife, we use red, orange, yellow, and white as the leaves that reflect the big tree as of the center painting. Let's put some flowers on the lower right side with complementary purple, pink, and white. Using a palette knife and dry brush, put some clouds on the upper left. And so we have a series of 3 paintings, more purple on the left and more green on the right, and more red, orange, yellow, white on the center. Thank you, Mr. Rick Balingan of the Eshishak Art Cafe, for mentoring us on this series of paintings. We're thinking of putting a waterfalls on the leftmost side and maybe a farm on the rightmost side. Thank you for watching. Travels, gardens, ikinobo, ikibana, zero waste gardening, making money, painting, family, friends, prayers. Please like my video. Please ring the bell below for notifications. Naku, maraming salamat po sa inyo.